On a steep and rocky coast, where the waves crashed against the shore like thunder, stood a family of lighthouses. All the big, strong lighthouses sent out brilliant, powerful beams that cut through the darkest fog and the wildest storms. But a little lighthouse, made of old stone and with a small, flickering light, was afraid of the dark. He worried that his tiny glow wasn't strong enough to save anyone. The little lighthouse, whose name was Beacon, watched with a heavy heart as the big lighthouses sent their strong beams out. To guide the ship safely home, he would try with all his might to shine, but his little light would just flicker and sway. He was so afraid that his light would not be enough to warn a ship of the dangerous rocks below. One evening, an old, wise seagull, who had seen many storms and many shipwrecks, landed on the little lighthouse's balcony. He saw the little lighthouse's worried, flickering glow. "Little lighthouse, why do you not shine with a joyful light? The night needs your help. My light is too weak. I'm afraid it won't be enough. I'm afraid I'll fail, little one." The darkest night doesn't just need one big, strong light. It also needs 1,000 little lights to guide the way. Your light is not meant to be big and grand. It is meant to be a special kind of light, a light that can see what others miss. The old seagull explained that the big lighthouses, with their powerful beams, often shot their light far out into the ocean, looking for the biggest ships. But they often missed the smaller things, like a little fishing boat that was caught in a small, hidden cove just below the cliffs. Your little light, the seagull said, is just the right size to shine into those hidden places. Just as the seagull said this, a little fishing boat, its motor sputtering, was being pushed by the waves into a small, rocky cove right below the little lighthouse. The big lighthouse's beams shot right over it, missing it completely. The fisherman on board was scared and couldn't see a way out. The little lighthouse heard the boat's distress. He remembered the seagull's words. He took a deep, brave breath, and with a wobble and a flicker, he turned his small light down, shining it directly into the dark, rocky cove. His light was not big, but it was just bright enough to show the fisherman a small, safe opening between the rocks. The fisherman saw the little light and, with a relieved gasp, steered his boat through the opening and back into the open sea. He looked up at the little lighthouse and waved his hand in thanks. The little lighthouse felt a glow of pride he had never felt before. He hadn't been a big, grand light, but he had been exactly what was needed. From that day on, the little lighthouse never worried about his size again. He still sent out his small, steady light, and he knew that his purpose wasn't to be the biggest or the brightest. His purpose was to be a special kind of light, a light that shines in the small, forgotten places and saves the little boats that no one else can see. Once upon a time, there was a big, white sheet of paper on an easel. All the other crayons were happy and vibrant, making beautiful drawings. One small, blue crayon looked nervous, his tip still sharp and his paper wrapper still perfectly intact. In a box full of happy, vibrant crayons, where every color had a story to tell, lived a little blue crayon. All his crayon friends were excited to get to work. They would create big, red hearts, tall, green trees, and bright, yellow suns. But this little blue crayon was scared. He had never made a mark before, and he was afraid of the big, blank, white paper. The little blue crayon watched from the safety of the box. He saw a yellow crayon accidentally scribble outside the lines. He saw a brave brown crayon get a little broken tip from coloring in a tree trunk. The little blue crayon's heart felt wobbly. He wanted to make something beautiful, but he was afraid of making a mistake. He was afraid of being imperfect. What if my line isn't straight? What if my color isn't right? An old, wise pencil, with a well-used eraser on its end, noticed the little blue crayon's fear. "Little crayon, why do you not get to work? The paper is waiting for your color. I'm scared. I'm afraid I'll make a mistake that can't be fixed." "Ah, my dear little friend, a mistake is not a disaster. A mistake is just a new idea. And that is what my eraser is for, to help you try again, to help you make a new story. But your color is your own. It is perfectly you." Just then, a little girl with a kind face and a love for drawing came to the easel. She looked at all her crayons, and she didn't pick the bold red or the sunny yellow. She picked the little blue crayon, who was still perfectly new and unused. The little girl held the little blue crayon gently. "Hello, little blue," she said softly. "Will you help me make a beautiful ocean?" She dipped a sharp, new tip in a small cup of water. The little crayon felt a little nervous, but also a little brave. The little crayon touched the paper. It wasn't a perfect, straight line. It was a little wobbly. But with the water, his blue color spread out, creating a soft, watery wash of blue on the paper. It was a mistake, but it was a beautiful, magical mistake. The little crayon felt a surge of joy. He was making a beautiful ocean. The little girl smiled and added some green seaweed with the green crayon and some tiny yellow fish with the yellow crayon. The little blue crayon's watery wash of color was the very heart of the drawing. He wasn't perfect, but he was beautiful. From that day on, the little blue crayon was no longer afraid of the paper. He knew that perfection wasn't the point. The point was to be brave enough to make a mark, brave enough to get a little bit messy, and brave enough to create something beautiful, just as he was.